Hi. So, welcome. My name is Uche Maple. I am a leadership and business strategist. I help aspiring entrepreneurs and high performing professionals start and grow their business so that they can build wealth and create a legacy that can be passed down generation to generation moving forward. Just a little known fact, here's something we don't think about, right? So, when we're working 9 to 5, for those of us, majority of us, and hopefully all of us are contributing right to the 401k or 403b, whichever one it is that right. What we don't understand is that when we retire, that money is what we need right to help us in terms of living the life that we want to live. So when people talk about building wealth, what does that look like? You don't. I want to build wealth while I'm alive. Okay, that's how I want to look at it. I want my kids to be a part of the wealth building process. Right now, if anything happens, right, they'll inherit it. But I want to be able to do it while they're alive and be able to enjoy um, the fruits of the labor, right, while I'm alive. So, and I want my kids to be a part of the wealth building process, the legacy process. You know, as like even next year, I'm going to be hosting a Plan to Wealth conference, and I want them to be a part of it. That maybe one day, as I'm doing this every year, that they now can take that and run with it, right, and take it to the next level. So building wealth and building a legacy to me is, yes, you're passing it down from generation, but I also want my family to be a part of it while I'm building it. And who wouldn't want that? Yes. So it can't just be where I'm working every day, putting money in my 401k, and then hopefully, yeah, I'm creating the life I want to live. No, I want to be able to create a life that not only I want to live, but my kids want to live. Yes, and take it to that next. Yes. All right. Who's on here? So I see, so who's on here? For those of you that are on here, make sure you put, where you're from, what you got, and any questions that you have. So again, my name is Uche Maple. I'm a leadership and business strategist. Just want to formally invite you at the end of this month. I am having a 3-day workshop on how you can really launch your business in 30 days. So for those of you who have an amazing idea, you're trying to figure out, oh my gosh, how do I start this? Uche, what do I need to do? You are new to this. Don't fret. This is simple. I'm going to walk you step by step, where at the end of the workshop, you will have a plan on how you can really turn that idea into a product or service so that you can really launch it in 30 days without having to do multiple things. There has been a lot of work, a lot of things that people are saying that you have to do when you're launching a product. And I'm not saying that is not the case. However, what I don't want you to do is to stop and overthink and over analyze, right? We know that there is paralysis by analysis. Okay. And we know that that will happen. So in order to execute, in order to move forward, I want you to come and join me. For those of you who are on Instagram, go to my bio and click on where it says launch in 30 days. For those of you that are on LinkedIn, Facebook, or even YouTube, you can definitely click in this video and you will see the link on how you can sign up and register. Yes. All right. So let's keep it going. All right. So yesterday we talked about some of the different ways on what is stopping us from executing in our business. Yep. Y'all remember that? Great conversation. Yep. You remember? Okay. So here are 5 tips that can help and position you so that you can be consistent in executing. Okay. For those of you who know about who has to manage projects, get stuff done, you know that it is to be consistent is a choice. Just like if you're working out, just like if you're eating healthy, with anything, consistency is the key. And we have to make sure that we prepare ourselves so that we can be successful. This is not any different than when you are starting your business. You want to make sure you are consistent. Let me be honest with you. People used to say, consistency is the key. Consistency is the key. I was like, okay, what does that mean? Because what I didn't know was that when they were saying consistency is the key, what that means is that showing up, right? Being present, planning, and executing. Doing those three things all the time so that as you're taking your clients on a journey, they're becoming aware of you. They're thinking about maybe they want to buy your stuff, and then eventually they want to buy your stuff, right? So we know that's the like, know, and trust factor. Okay, so being consistent and showing up, we want to make sure we're doing that, and being and learning how to successfully execute consistently is the core of that. That's the core. Hey, mama, got my dog in here. That's the core of that. So want to make sure that we're doing that consistently. She's cold. So all right. So the first thing that we need to know how to do is know your end game. How many of you are always working on something you don't know the end game? You don't know why you're doing it. You need to know the end game of when you are trying to execute for a certain campaign in your business, social media, you're launching a product, whatever that is, you need to know the end game. What is the end game? Why are you doing this? What are your goals? What are you hoping to achieve? Oftentimes, we have a tendency to forget all of the amazing stuff that we've learned, and that when we start our own business, we're like, I don't know what's going on. When you are launching or doing or starting a business, and you are trying to get your product out there, you need to understand what the end game is. The end game is something as simple as how many of these do I want to sell at the end of this month, right? How many people do I need to talk to? How many people am I going to network with? What is the end game here? And you need to understand that so that you can be very strategic in how you move and very strategic in how you show up, because your plan may change, right? Hey, Sasha, how are you? Thanks for joining. Your plan may change. So you want to make sure that you are strategic in what that is. Know your end game. Just don't put something out there and don't really know why you're doing it. Now, you're going to have a lot of people that say, hey, just try it out. I get that. However, if you want to be consistent, so here's the thing. When you are consistently executing, you know why you're doing what you're doing. When you're throwing things out there, you're not going to be consistent because you have no idea why you're doing it. You don't know your why. So you want to make sure that you're consistently understanding what the end game is. And the end game is more than just what you're doing now. The end game is more than what you're doing now, right? The end game could be what you want to be at the end of the year, what you want to be in 5 years. But you want to make sure that you know the end game of why you are doing what you're doing. Okay? All right, the second thing is, this is the key. I'm going to share this with you, but this is one of my secrets and why I was so successful when I launched my business. When I launched my business, this is I was showing up every day. Got my first client when I was on stage in 3 minutes. First $7,000 client after speaking only for 3 minutes. Just saying, claim to fame. But this is a secret that has been instrumental, and it's going to change your life. Okay? I'm going to tell you this. Every night before you go to bed, before you do your prayer, get on your knees, thanking God, before you do your meditation, before you do any of that, what you need to do is prepare each night for the next day. Probably like, what, OJ? I know that. Or what? Here's why. One, it's a data dump. You're going to sleep amazing. But it allows you to know what you need to do that next day, and you've already done the prep work. You know, when people talk about meal prepping, do it the night before. This is not any different. You are prepping already for what you need to do for the next day. I keep this book with me. It's a journal. And I have, you know what? I wish I have like a whole bookcase of journals that I have so that it helps me prep for the next day. If you do this, I promise you, I guarantee if you were to do this, you're going to be successful in what you're doing. Before the night of, write down what you need to do for the next day. Go ahead and prep yourself for that. Guarantee you it's going to change how you move and how you show up and how much work you get done. Okay? You listen, it's a lot of people that wait till the next morning, all discombobulated, okay, this is what you spend an hour trying to figure out what you need to do for the day. Think about that's 60 minutes. That's 60 minutes. When you can instead already know what you want to do, and then when you wake up, you can go conquer. Yes, yes? Okay. The third thing is keep a log of all the stuff you have done for the day and the things you have not done for the day. You carry that over to the next. When I tell you that is a life changer, that's a life changer. But and I'm saying you do that, but you're consistent with it. You're going to realize that, oh my gosh, I'm getting so many things accomplished. And you know why that's important? Because on days where you feel like you're not getting anything done, you now have a log of all the stuff you were able to do the day before and the things that you're doing the day of. And it is a confidence booster. When they tell you that entrepreneurship is not for the faint of heart, they ain't lying. It is not. However, to be consistent, oftentimes, because let me say this, I was one of them. Because I was a high performer, overachiever in my 9 to 5. When I started my business, I thought in my mind that I was going to come in my business and be the same person. It was not true because it became so overwhelming for me that sometimes I was just like, I'm not doing anything. Because I became mentally exhausted. I was overwhelmed. I had emotional fatigue. So I stopped. When I had all the tools that I had learned in corporate, and I just needed to transfer them over in my 9 to 5 and be practical. And I talked about this yesterday. The expectations that I had for myself was so high that they became unachievable. And when you're starting your business, inch by inch, it becomes a cinch. Yard by yard, it can be hard. You understand what I'm saying? Yes? So keep a log of everything you've done the day of and what you need to carry over the next day. Make sure you do that so that it doesn't become mentally exhausting. Trust me when I say this. You are going to be overwhelmed. Because you're a high performer already. And when you start your business, you think you're going to go in there behaving in the same mannerisms and way, when that is not the case. You're going to get a reality check. And here's what I want for you. I don't want you to stop. I want you to keep going. Right? So that, I was able to retire at 44, and you might be able to retire within the next 5 years or 3 years too, right? And or keep your job so that you can build a wealth and legacy you desire for yourself. Yes, yes. All right. The fourth thing, which is probably, a couple people may not agree with this, but I think you should have a work schedule set up. Oftentimes when we start our own business, there's a tendency that we don't have to be consistent when we were working. And as a result of that, family members, friends, whoever may think that we're at home and you find yourself doing everything else but your business. So you need to have boundaries, not only for the people around you, but for yourself, that when I'm working this time, this is it. This is my dedicated time so that I can work on growing my business. Yes, yes. And it's important because you want to be consistent. You only have X amount of hours in a day, right? And I don't know about you. I know this for sure. I need 6 to 7 hours of sleep in order to be my highest level performance. There's a book called Full Performance, and it talks about how Can you recognize when you're at your highest level of performance so that you can get the most out of it? For me, my highest level of performance is in the morning. I am at my most optimum in the morning. I can do things faster. I can think faster. So I take advantage of the morning. You have to know what your highest level of performance is. I get it. But here's the thing. As an entrepreneur, you now have different ways on how you can fit your schedule in, right? Some people do it, they work their 9 to 5 and they do it from 6 to 10. It's whatever makes sense for you. But you got to make sure you know when you are at your highest level and making sure that you get your sleep in. It was many nights where I didn't sleep. I got maybe 1 or 2 hours of sleep. So here's the thing too. Let me say this. When I was working and getting my master's degree, I didn't get any sleep. So if I can get no sleep while I get my master's, I can darn sure get no sleep. And I'm talking a little bit how I'm talking. I can darn sure get no sleep while I'm building my wealth, while I'm building a legacy. Okay? When you invest more in yourself than you do your job, you make a fortune. You need to remember that. This is about investing in you. This is not about it. Just think about it. When you're at work, you're working all those extra hours and you're investing in someone else's dream, but you can't invest in yourself. Oh, I got to get some rest. Take a nap and wake up. But you got to want it more than anyone else. So get a schedule. You need a schedule so that you can be consistent. The people you are trying to attract want you to be consistent because they need what you have. And when you disappear for days and then come back, we don't know if we can trust you. Yes, yes. You are building, don't forget. You might have already created a name in the field that you're in, but you're trying to create a new name in the field you're trying to get into. Yes, yes? Okay. And the last thing on how to be consistent with executing as an entrepreneur. You ready? Schedule time for you to do nothing. That is one of the most overlooked things that we don't do, which is to schedule time for ourselves. And you have to do that, especially when you're working. Let me just say this, if you are working, you're trying to build a business, you have a partner and you have kids. And this is something new for a lot of us that are Gen Xers or early millennials. Now we're having to look out for parents. So that's 5 things that we're now having to be responsible for. You got to make sure that you take time for yourself. And let me be clear. Don't be insecure with humble beginnings. Okay? You may see a lot of other people running and it looks like they're doing a lot of amazing things, but everybody had to start somewhere. And what I tell people is, watch me, watch you 5 years from now. The only thing I need you to do is be consistent and get started. But you absolutely have to reserve some time for yourself. One of the best things that I like to do now, and it's phenomenal. Let me say this. So I just really started. So my son, he was having a difficult time staying asleep at night. And one of someone that we trusted, they said, why don't you do meditation? So we went on YouTube, found some meditation, and it worked. So there's a 10-minute meditation exercise that I did. And let me say this, after I do it, I go straight to sleep and I'm sleeping the whole night. So I'm realizing like, okay, I got to get my stuff done before I go to sleep. But that's one time where it's for me. And the second time is usually during the day. I go outside and I just walk around my backyard. And I just take time for myself and I'm just singing and I'm just having a great time so that I could take time for myself. Now, when I was working, the time that I took for myself was when I got home. I always, every time, whenever I got home from work, I took a soak and it was about an hour. And that was my time. Everyone knew when I got home that mom needed an hour for herself. So that was already declared in the household. Now, unless it was an emergency, but outside of that, it was respected. I firmly believe, and I'm going to be, and this is going to be this is going to be a contradictory statement to everything that you were ever taught. If it is not important to you, it is not going to be important to the people in the household. So when we hear things like, well, I have to do this, I got to make this. If it's not important to you and you are claiming it and making boundaries, it's not going to be important to anyone else in the household. I can promise you that, because when my spouse comes in and he's like, listen, it's time for me to go to the gym, and he's gone for 2 hours, we all respect it, we understand it. And I'm declaring that you don't be afraid to say that this is what you need in order for you to be successful. If you make it important, everyone around you will make it important. And I honestly believe that. Yes, yes. Yes, yes. All right. So those are the 5 tips. I hope they're very helpful. I know they were very helpful. They've been very helpful for me. They've been very helpful for me to be successful. Again, if you don't have a notebook, get you a journal, get you something that you can write your notes in. If you're not that person, you use your phone where you keep your notes and all that stuff. Make sure you have something. But the point is those are the 5 tips on how you can continuously, constantly execute in your business so that you're not becoming overwhelmed, getting mental exhaustion, getting burnt out, so that you can build wealth and create a legacy you desire. All right, everyone, my name is Uche Maple, your leadership and business strategist. Please click the link below to join me for the 3-day masterclass on how you can launch your business in 30 days to the people you want to attract. All right, everyone, have a great one, and I'll see you later. Bye.